everybody, it's the Bull Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today I kind of want to talk about two players, ladies and gentlemen, that I feel should be getting a little bit more of their shots up in relation to the Chicago Bulls, and their names are Ayo, Dosunmu, and obviously Patrick Williams. Now, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I do know the type of team that we do have a big three technically that will take a bulk of the shots for the Chicago Bulls, and I can understand why they do that, because they are the best players on the team and everything like that. But ladies and gentlemen, Ayo, Dosunmu and Patrick Williams for many is considered the future of the Chicago Bulls, and in my opinion, the future of the Chicago Bulls definitely are players that at the end of the day need to be built more into the offense, need to have more of the shots being given to them as well. So by the time it does come to the present and they're able to take over the Chicago Bulls, or they're able to, I guess, make this team successful in the future, they'll be ready to do so. But I feel like the Chicago Bulls, not necessarily just obviously these two guys, but throughout the course of their history have had struggles in terms of developing players and making them ready to take the next step. And unfortunately, that is something we have to deal with. And I do want to kind of stress out my frustrations in that avenue today. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bull Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls. And I guess if you agree or disagree with the fact that in my opinion, Ayo, Dosunmu and Patrick Williams should be taking more shots for the Chicago Bulls. Now, we've got to start off by saying that both of these players are averaging a little bit over 7 attempts per game for the Chicago Bulls, at least from my understanding, which for some people it might be okay that they're averaging that. At the end of the day, it's not like they're averaging no shots per game or something like that. A lot of their shots are from their own doing. For Ayo, Dosunmu, for example, a lot of his shots now are not usually even catch and shoots anymore. It's more of attacking the basket, cutting to the basket and getting some layups. That's Ayo, Dosunmu's game. Patrick Williams is probably a little bit more well-rounded. He's a very good three-point shooter. He gets to his mid-range spots, in my opinion, better than Ayo, Dosunmu. And obviously, he does have athleticism to get to the foul line and to get into the paint as well. So I think Patrick Williams' offense is a little bit more varied than Ayo's. But at the end of the day, they both are big parts, in my opinion, of the Chicago Bulls' future. So I would personally like to see both Ayo, Dosunmu and Patrick Williams get a little bit more into the double figures in terms of the shots taken every single night. Now, of course, the averages won't change overnight. Just if they, for example, if they just start shooting 10 to 11 shots per game, it will take a long time for that to really show on the statistical side of things. For example, Patrick Williams at the start of the year was taking around 4 shots per game and stuff like that, and it was very, very mediocre. It wasn't necessarily the best thing in the world. Even in the last game against the Utah Jazz, he actually took 4 attempts in that game. But recently, he's had very good shot selections in which he's had around 9 to 10 shots per game as well. So that's positive to see. But that's kind of the message saying that even if they start now, the stats might not show that they've necessarily made big progressions and big strides in that area. But I do believe, for the sake of Patrick Williams and Ayo, Dosunmu, as well as for this team, that we need to start getting these guys more involved in the offense. They're part of the starting 5, ladies and gentlemen, and the fact that we see quarters on end with them not getting any shots is very worrying to me. And of course, you can put it down to the players. At the end of the day, Ayo is someone that I thought was really aggressive in one quarter, but never really got going again. And obviously, Patrick Williams, we've been talking for many years now about how he has been sometimes he likes aggression. I've been so proud of Patrick Williams recently, and this is by no means a video of me slating Patrick Williams. I'm actually going to lean towards the coaching staff, but with everything in relation to the Chicago Bulls, there has to be some responsibility on the players. It's as simple as that. You can't always dwindle down to one solution or one problem. The problem can't just be the coaching staff and the coaching staff alone. That's not how the real world works, ladies and gentlemen. There's not always one solution or one problem for the Chicago Bulls. And usually when you identify as many of the problems as possible, you will get the best outcome and the best solutions available as well. So yes, I will say that Ayo and Patrick Williams have to do a better job in being more aggressive and taking stuff into their own hands every now and then. That's okay, that's all fine and good. But now we're going to turn to that coaching staff, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to tell me certain plays that have been given to Ayo, Dosunmu or given to Patrick Williams this season. I'm not asking about last season because, again, not many people remember last year that well. In the course of the 9 wins and 11 losses that we have, name any play that's actually given to Ayo, Dosunmu or Patrick Williams. Maybe you can consider plays where they get an open three for Patrick Williams in the corner or an open three for Ayo as considered their type of play. But there's not really many plays run for those guys, ladies and gentlemen, at least none that I can remember. A lot of the shots from Patrick Williams is when he has the ball and he's driving into his position, or when he's going into the paint getting fouled, or he's dunking or something like that. Ayo Dosunmu is pretty much the exact same. Most of Ayo Dosunmu's shot selection is from layups. It's just him grabbing the ball, beating his man off the dribble, and going for layups. Sometimes he gets blocks. Most of the time, he's done very well in terms of finishing those layups, which is very positive to see. But in my opinion, if you're going to see these guys be the cornerstone of the Chicago Bulls in the next 10 years, you have to instill them more into the offense at an early age. Again, look at all the young guys now, ladies and gentlemen, that are being part of a vocal point of the offense for their respective teams. And I'm not just talking about guys in Patrick Williams' draft class or guys like Ayo Dosunmu's draft class. I'm talking about guys that are rookies right now, ladies and gentlemen. And it's as simple as that. You've got to have more plays run for these guys so they can get, I guess, what a superstar player is all about. Right now, they're doing the dirty work. They're doing the nitty-gritty type of things. And that's fine. And you expect those young players to work very hard, give 110% and become those types of players in the future. But if you want them to be cornerstone players, they also got to learn how to be vocal points in an offense. They also got to learn what it feels like to have plays run for them and how they have to deliver when those plays are run for them. Their numbers have to be called up a lot more than what they currently are being. And at the end of the day, I really do feel like our coaching staff has lacked in that department. And it's not the first time that they have. Again, look at how Lauri Markkanen has transitioned into the #1 guy in the Utah Jazz team. I'm not necessarily putting that on the Chicago Bulls because at the end of the day, 90% of Bulls fans wanted Lauri Markkanen to leave. And I'm not going to forget that. And I think a lot of people may have changed their minds now looking at Lauri Markkanen. But the fact of the matter is, Bulls do have trouble developing players. And Lauri Markkanen is an example of that. And it was the right decision at the time to let go of Lauri Markkanen. He wasn't accepting a bench role. And obviously, he wasn't the player that he is right now in Utah. So that's good for Lauri Markkanen and it was good for the Bulls at the time. But I think we've seen throughout the course of many players that have left the Chicago Bulls, they've been a lot better off in those other teams, which does lead to me that even though we have done a significantly better job in terms of drafting, a significantly better job in terms of, I guess, guys that could potentially be the future of this team, like an Ayo and like a Patrick Williams, I still feel like there is a small area in this department of the Chicago Bulls coaching staff or the training staff, whatever it is, that does not really focus on getting the players to the superstar levels that they can be. And if we do see that, then of course I'll be proven wrong, and I'm going to be happy to do that because that means Ayo or Pat or even Kobe, whoever it is, will turn out to be a superstar for this team. But until that happens, what I'm seeing right now, I feel like we can see more. And that could be a selfish part of me. I understand that Patrick Williams is the 4th option and Ayo Dosunmu is the 5th option. I understand that. But at the end of the day, we do need to see more. And seeing DeMar DeRozan chuck up 30 shots or Zach LaVine chuck up 30 shots, yes, sometimes it's well needed. And guys have to take responsibility for being aggressive and helping in that area. So DeMar and Zach don't have to take all those shots. But unfortunately, even when I feel like they are stepping up, one of the biggest talking points of our season is how Billy Donovan does not continue to go to the players that are feeling hot at the moment. For example, Patrick Williams had 17 points against the Boston Celtics and he was making almost every single shot. Then all of a sudden we stopped going to him, ladies and gentlemen. And I feel like that's a common theme for this Bulls team. So even when they are feeling good and they are contributing and they are helping with this team, we stop going to them so we can go back to the usual setup of DeMar DeRozan and of Zach LaVine. And I don't see many teams that do that, ladies and gentlemen. Again, there's a lot of isolation in this team. There's a lot of hero ball on this team already. But I feel like even at our best, when everybody's contributing, it still is really focused on just getting DeMar and Zach their shots. And that is very frustrating at the end of the day. So I'm not saying this to, I guess, say this Bulls team is terrible or anything like that. I think this Bulls team has made a very valiant effort in turning things around on the defensive end especially and the offensive end as well. But I guess this is the next step for the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion, to see more from some of our younger guys and to give our younger guys more of a chance to take control of a game. It might not always work out, and with young guys you have to expect inconsistency. But again, if they're going to be the future of this team, if you're going to pay Ayo to be here for the long term, and you're going to eventually pay Patrick Williams to be here for the long term, if that's the goal, if that's the plan, if that's the mindset for the Chicago Bulls, then these young players will never become superstars if you don't give them the opportunity to have or run the team every now and then, or to give them the the ball in certain situations every now and then. And again, I really do think that has to be a bigger part of this team in the future. I'm not calling, again, I am not calling for Ayo and Patrick Williams to shoot 20 shots per game. That's not what I'm asking for. But I can at least see them crack the double digits in terms of shot attempts. And I can at least see them be more aggressive on this team. And I at least expect to have plays being called for them. Hopefully this video made sense. Again, it's just my thought process. Even watching this game against the Utah Jazz, I really was frustrated because Ayo was so aggressive in the game, especially at the start. And I did not remember a single thing he did after that. And that's not something you want to be hearing. And obviously Patrick Williams didn't have a great game, but he was very good the week before that. So I'm not going to really say much about Patrick. But these two guys, Kobe as well, if you want to put him in that conversation, I'm not sure. It depends on what you guys really feel. But I feel like more of our younger guys do need to have a little bit more of the ball in their hands, in my opinion. You can say I'm right, you can say I'm wrong. At the end of the day, it's your opinion. I'm not going to say that I'm right or wrong. I just feel that's kind of what I feel in terms of the situation. So with all that being said, I'm going to end this video here. To sum it up, basically, I do think Ayo and Patrick Williams need to have more responsibility in being more aggressive. I think there's not just one problem with this team. I do think that at the end of the day, if you look for just one problem or one solution, you're not going to fix everything, because there are many, many reasons as to why Patrick Williams and Ayo are only averaging a little bit of above of 7 shot attempts per game. It's as simple as that. But then also, I think the coaching staff has to do better. I think the coaching staff has to run plays for these guys. And I think if these guys are going to be the future of the team, then they need to feel what a superstar would feel like in those situations where their number is called upon, when they run a play for them, and where they're able to make those shots and deal with everything else that happens after that as well. They're going to have to learn this eventually. I know they're young guys and they're still very, like Patrick Williams is 21. I think Ayo is around the same age as well. Yes, they're very young players. And I don't expect them to be the superstars, but they've got to learn these things, in my opinion. You can't just expect it to click all of a sudden. For one example, if you just all of a sudden, Nikola Vucevic doesn't re-sign with the Chicago Bulls, bang, you put Patrick Williams as the third option on this team. It doesn't necessarily always work like that, because you haven't put Patrick Williams in situations where he'll feel comfortable as the third option on this team. Because all of his shots now are just open three-point shots from the corner, which he won't get a lot of as the third option on this team. Or it's him doing the work himself, him getting offensive rebounds and going up, him just driving to the basket after his own rebound. There's no plays called for him, so why would he feel comfortable being the third option? These are the things that these players will have to learn. And again, I hope I made sense in saying that. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Again, this is not me slating the Bulls in the slightest. I do think we are hopefully turning a new leaf in terms of our NBA season. We can actually get somewhere and accomplish something. But again, I think it's important to note my frustrations just as much as my positivities. And of course, with more wins comes more positivity. It was a great game against Utah, that second half performance it was. And let's hope we can do even better in the next time out against the Phoenix Suns. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.